Hey, stylists from the back room, what's going on? We've got news. We've got a lot of news today. We've got a story for you, and it's going to be a major discussion that we're going to be having. Some of you are going to get upset. Some of you are going to get upset this week. We're going to have a very interesting spotlight on a certified organic based hair color. And then the homework this week is going to be interesting. Good morning, John. What's going on, my friend?
Eddie, how are you today, my friend?
I'm having a great week.
Good morning, STFB. How are you guys doing? As always, we have to start with Eddie. How was your week?
Told you, I'm having a great week.
You're having a good week.
I get to see your smiley face this morning. How could I not be having a good week?
Well, we've only talked like 3 or 4 times this morning already, so
the highlight of my morning.
We are we're coming up on some stuff coming up at the end of April, my friend. We've got America's Beauty Show that we do every year, and what's our booth number?
1506.
And then our classroom is number 52, I believe.
Yes, correct.
Okay, guys, if you are in the Midwest or you need a little vacation, even though today, right now, looking out my window, winter has come back to us here in Chicago. 3 inches of snow, which is really nice. Yeah. But what we've got for you today, we've got a lot of stuff, but really, I want to get into the news kind of quickly with you today, because we've got a lot of fun stuff. I got some really cool news with you right now. And we're going to start out with spring, because even though we've got snow on the ground here right now, spring, allegedly we had the first day of spring a couple days ago, and there's some new spring trends coming our way.
Okay.
So we're going to start with, today we're just going to do color. We're going to talk about color today. It's color day. Because you and I have, color is how we actually became friends, if I remember correctly. It seems like forever
the start of it all.
Even though my wife refers to you as the other woman. But spring color trends. As we all know, our industry retreads things, puts different titles on them, but some of them are really cool. And what we're going to be asked for, and what people are going to be looking at, are reds this spring. Sorry. And the new spring trend is called wine country reds.
Sounds fun.
Wine country reds. What is that? What does wine country bring to you? What is wine? The wine colors.
Like a Merlot, a Bordeaux, a red violet, a deep, rich tone, warm, really, right. Really beautiful, warm, and richness and depth.
Right. So it's all different levels of reds that live in the blue, purple, and true wine color families are going to be the hot colors. Some of the colors that I've seen that they're showing are just awesome. For those of you that are red freaks like I am, I know you love reds. I know you've been on a quest to create the perfect red for the past 15 years. So those are all the colors that we're going to be seeing as far as that trend. Really, the blues, the purples, those real violet, those cool based reds are going to be just.
If anybody is willing to share a red formula, give me a level 6 red violet. I want a scarlet red. That's what I'm looking for. A level 6 red violet. Really, really intense. I want it, the depth and the richness of like wine, like you're talking about. But I want it to glisten and sparkle like a ruby when the light hits it. I want a flash of intensity, but I want the depth and richness of it when it's sitting, when it's resting sitting, not directly in light.
There's a story that goes with that, and this was a few years back. We were doing Eddie and I were doing what back in the day we used to do trend commands, and we had a bunch of models that were all perfect candidates for reds. And we were on a quest to make a hair color almost the exact same color as a drop of blood. Do you remember that?
I did that's that level 6 red scarlet.
And I have to, and for you guys, we'll find I have pictures somewhere of all of these redheads that we did. They all were just fantastic. They were awesome. We had a couple artists working with us too that were just did phenomenal styles on them. It was great. I'll find those pictures. We'll put those up. So next on our list of hair colors is burgundy browns. So once again, along with that cool that violet purple tone, that violet blue tone, but with the burgundy browns, what they're showing is super shine and gloss. They're really high gloss colors that they're showing now. With those high glosses, they really are looking for reflections, that red reflection in the hair when the light hits it. That's what they're talking about with those burgundy browns. They don't want it just glowing in the dark. I used to work with a woman. We were side by side for 18 years, and she used to tell. She had a lot of older clients, and she used to call them church reds, where you'd look across the church and you'd see their hair glowing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about true. When the light hits it, you're getting that cool red burgundy reflection. That's really what they're looking for, not the glow in the dark, or and with them next to like the blue-haired lady who used a roux rinse on her hair, her stylist used a roux rinse on her hair, the day before when she got her hair done before she went to church. I still remember as a kid, I used to be staring, and my mom would pop me in the back of the head and be like, "Quit staring." And then, now here's a cool one. This is my favorite, and they're calling it the crystal clear blonde. Now, with the crystal clear blonde, it's not quite gold, not quite silver. It's got a real neutral, creamy tone, and it's great for your fair and pale skin clients, where it's not giving off too cool. And it's not giving off too gold. The pictures that I saw were, gorgeous. Because we all still are doing those double process clients. But what you can do with this too, what they're showing is with the right toner, you can actually do this with your highlight clients, but it's bringing those highlights up to the level that they need to be. So all you have to do is do a quick demi toner on them.
You can control it with a glaze too. You can refresh it like existing clients. You can refresh it with a glaze too.
That's what they're talking about. That's exactly what they're talking about, is really getting into your demi lines and creating different tones with your demi lines with your blondes. But the caveat to that is, guys, and we've all done it, is bringing that color up to those highlights and that blonde up to where it needs to be, where the toner can actually, instead of correcting with the toner, you're actually creating a tone with the toner. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Am I being a little preachy there? Because I am. Because it's a pet peeve, and it's something that I was guilty of early on. I would always be scared as hell to, gotta get that off the hair before I would get it up to where it would need to be, and then spend 30 minutes in the bowl toning them to get it to look like something even close to what I wanted it to be. We've all done it. So that, and then with that being said, I got to give you facts and figures because that's what I do, and I know you love it.
I think they're fascinating. I actually been liking these stats that you've been coming up with each week. It really is interesting.
Okay, so this is from, I didn't write my source down, but it was from like Bloomberg or one of those news sources. In 2023, the hair color market for the US, okay? Hair color, that means over the counter and salon services combined, was over $2 billion. So along those lines, with all the facts and figures that we've been throwing out there, we are in a thriving industry. If you really think about it, $2 billion in hair color alone. Hair color alone. That's not any other salon service. So even if you take a quarter of that off for over the counter sales or whatever it is, that's a lot of money, kids. Don't you think? I mean, we are in a thriving industry.
We're in a thriving industry. It's really wild. It's really, really wild. You talk to some people and they're going to say, you know, business is great. You're going to talk to some other people and they're going to say, you know, business is down, business sucks, or it's slow. You're going to talk to some other people and, you know, everybody's got a different opinion one ways or another, right? The issue, what happens is you got to look at what you're doing behind the chair with your business, and you got to look at what you're doing with your clientele. Who are your clients? What is your clientele? There is this thing where I'll get a phone call and somebody will say, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. Well, okay, but what have you really been accomplishing in 10, 15 years that you say you've been doing this? You know, have you been doing one client? Like you've been doing this one service on this one client for the past 10 years? And that's your experience? That's your expertise? Or you do this every single day, nonstop, day in and day out? You're banging out 10 clients a day or 5 to 10 clients a day, and you've been doing this consistently for 10 years. Because that stylist who says it that way is very busy, and they say, oh yeah, no, business is great, business is thriving, right? $2 billion industry in hair color. Okay, that makes sense. The client who says, or the stylist who says, yeah, things are slow, nobody's asking for those kind of services anymore. Usually the stylist who says that is because you're either not talking about it, nobody knows you provide that kind of service, or you haven't really been doing it. You've been doing it on two people, one or two people. One of them is a family member, so that person doesn't even count, kind of. I don't know. They kind of count, they kind of don't count. I don't know. The other person is a client that you're half-assedly doing it on. You know, it's not your expertise. You're just not strong in that service. And I know it's going to upset some people hearing that. Are you really an expert? Are you really taking part of that big piece of that pie that's available out there? You know, because even if you had 1% of 2 billion, what is that? $200,000 or something? And then, you know, or 2 million is like 1% of that. And then if you break it down, you know, that would account for the professional side of things. So then if you took it down to the state level, that's like, I don't know, $200,000 of business available. I don't know math off the top of my head like this, but if you brought it down to your personal city, $20,000 of business is available to your immediate surrounding area. And I'm just spitballing numbers here, you know, just trying to do math 1% off the top of my head. But if you boosted your business, you can't get $20,000 of business. You can't attract $100 out of that 20 grand that's available.
Right.
What are you really an expert in? What are you really doing?
Right. I'm not gonna. I can't argue that with you, because with what we do and the phone calls we get, and the you know, we've been in salons where people have, you know, well, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this, you know, and I throw that out there, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years. But when I first started, and I always reference her, the woman that trained me gave me the best piece of advice that I could ever get. And she told me, you're only as good as your last haircut.
Ooh, That's good. That's good advice.
And
What does that
it did
mean? Explain what
right,
that means. That's good
right,
advice.
right. So young me full of all kinds of, piss and vinegar, waiting for the busy bus to show up because, business only comes in seasonally. That's a joke, guys. Young me, it really didn't resonate with me until I really got some experience under my belt. And then to me personally, everybody walking around with our work on their head, everyone is actually our business card. It's a business card. Because as we know, people will stop. I love your color. Where do you get your color done? I love your haircut. Oh my God, your hair is so gorgeous. Where do you get it done? I mean, you can go down that list of compliments that people get. And to me, what that spoke to is you cannot phone it in with each client. You can't phone it in. Each client needs 110% of your attention, no matter what kind of day you're having. That person is really looking for you to give them your 100% of what you got inside your toolbox. And yeah, have there been times and I'm there's been times where I'm like, what the heck am I going to do? And back in the day, I used to scurry to the back room and find someone to be like, go walk by my client, let me know. Everybody does that. But that client got 100% effort from me. I've never phoned it in. Um, have there been some color mishaps? Yeah, there's been some color mishaps. But the bottom line is it doesn't matter whether you're new to the business or you know, you're 30 years plus into the business. You're only good as that person who's walking out of your chair right then and there and what they look like. And have you accomplished your goal? And the best part about what we do, and I say this all the time, is that I'll never know everything. You'll never know everything. I mean, things change. And yeah, we retread, like we were talking about in the news, we retread things, but it's done a different way. And we can all learn. We're all constantly learning. I learn from young people when we go visit beauty schools. I love just standing there watching the young people work, just because the way you look at it, the way I look at it, the way, and all you guys out there, we all look at things differently, and we can all learn from each other. So really, that's what it really means to me is you're only as good as your last haircut or the last client did you give 100% into that client and doing that service. That's what that means to me. What does it mean to you?
I've been burned by this too many times in my career, so I've really take that lesson to heart. You're only as good as your last haircut, or you're as good as your last service. It doesn't matter. Here's a painful reality. It doesn't matter if you've done right by that client for 100 times you've done their hair, for the past 10 years you've done their hair. It doesn't matter how long you've done their hair for. You are only evaluated by the last service that you did. Unfortunately, what happens is if you make a mistake, if you goof, if you're not available, if you slip that one time, it usually that one time is the most important time. They have some event, they have some life happening. There's a wedding, there's I don't know, a birth of a kid, there's a I don't know, a major interview for work. There's some party, there's some major thing happening in that person's life. And yes, they need their hair done and look good every single time they get their hair done by you. But that one time that you didn't come in early, you didn't stay late, you didn't do it right, you missed something, that was the time that it mattered the most out of every other time. And the burn, oh my gosh, do you get burns? You get crucified for missing that one time. and now you're the devil. Now you are the ultimate evil. You are no longer the main character of your story no more.
No.
All the other times that you missed out on your own personal life, family, events, friends, mishaps. Anytime you didn't feel good, you wanted to lay down, you force yourself to come in, you put in that extra work, blah, 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 all this stuff. Nope, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All the times you were told you're the best, I love you, what would I do without you? I'm going to write you into my will, you're part of my divorce settlement, blah, blah, blah. I get you, you're part of my 50%. Nope,
Right.
Doesn't matter. None of that matters.
And we've all, anybody who's watching this and anybody who does watch this, we've all been bit by this. We've all been bit by this. We go, you do everything you can. You're this person's best friend, and then just one screw up, one goof up. I still remember back. I had a client. I mean, I did her hair for 20 years. 20 years, and one time she had a big business meeting, and I'm feeling myself that day. I rocked her color, and then I go to cut her, okay? And I squeezed her cut in, right? So I'm flying through the haircut. I style it. I don't even, looks good to me, right? Boom, boom, boom. That night, she goes home. She shampoos her hair. I get a picture. There is like an 1.5 inch difference in the front.
It's asymmetrical. It's a style.
I couldn't even joke it off, right? And I'm like, well, do you want me to come in? Do you want me to come in early? I will, I'll fix the haircut. My bad.
And that's an easy fix, right?
Right. It was totally my bad. My fault. Because I wanted to be. I was questing for that. I had this. And all I get in response is no. I'd never heard from her again, never saw her again, anything. 20 years because of one goof up haircut. And once again, you're only as good as your last, and if I had been a little more attentive, and I beat myself up for it for a long time. And then I just realized, this is what we do. This is what we do. And, I mean, was it a shitty haircut? Could she have gotten a better haircut at a beauty school? Probably, because I was flying and I was, but we've all done it. Haven't we? I mean, we've all done it.
But that's the whole thing, right? So the moral of that story is it's got to become so second nature to you. The service that you provide has to be so second nature to you. You got to be able to do it in your sleep. You got to be able to do it consistently and perfectly every single time. The only way that happens is through education. You got to come in, you got to keep getting classes, and you got to stay open-minded that not everything is the same thing you've been doing for the past 10 years or however. I'm stuck on 10 years, but for however long you've been doing it for, you got to stay open-minded that everything might be new. You might learn something. And just because you've been doing something for a long time doesn't mean there isn't any room for improvement in there either. Okay. And don't just relax on the fact that, oh yeah, I know how to cut hair. Oh, yeah, I know how to color hair. I know how to do hair extensions. I know how to do a keratin treatment. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, how well do you really know it?
Right.
How strong of a mastery do you really have? Because, like we're talking about, you're only as good as your last service.
Yeah. And
that's the one thing I will tell you is this. This is why I love glazes. This is why toners and glazes are phenomenal things, because technically speaking, a toner will correct, balance, or take away an unwanted tone. But creatively speaking, man, you can have a lot of fun with glazes, you know?
You can.
And you can do a lot of things with hair color in that regards, especially with overglazes. Now, does an overglaze have to be a demi color? Does it have to be a toner? Could you do it with permanent color?
Oh, 100%.
So you could just, so your creative options, everything has its own place, right? But then if you're going to do a permanent color, the argument is always, well, okay, well, permanent color is really strong. And that's a lot of chemicals you're putting over somebody's hair. You're going to over ammoniate the ends. You're going to over oxidize it. You're going to over this. You're going to over that. So then what do? Like, why is it that some stylists, some colorists, let me say it better, some colorists, why is it some colors can get away with creatively doing things that other colorists can't? Is it their skill set, or is it the color line, the product that they're using?
I see. I'm going to go with the skill set, because I know I worked, like I said, I worked 18 years next to someone who started doing hair in 1964.
Okay.
And I watched her do some amazing things with old school Clairol color in the bottom, the brown bottle, right? And I watched her do some amazing work with it. Using her developers to her advantage and disadvantage, but using her developers, really understanding the animal that that hair color is. And especially now, because we have so many color lines now, and the one we're going to get into shortly, where you can actually take that ammoniated color with a separate developer and turn it in to maybe a deposit only color, or dilute it enough where you could actually turn it into a glaze where you've dissipated the ammonia, and you're not going to break that base.
Well, all right. Well, skill set is important. How much can you rely on your skill set? Like, if you still don't have a good based ingredients to work with,
well, wait.
How much pressure is that putting on that skill set, though?
Well, exactly, your skill set. But like I said, I put the caveat in there that you have to understand what you're using. And if you're going to be that artistic with something, then what you have to do is really find yourself a color line, or really, if we're talking about color and glazes, are you in a disco? Your light keeps flicking on and off.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just having technical issues today.
But if really finding a color line that really can expand you may have the knowledge, but let me back up a little bit here. Okay. You take your car into your mechanic, right? To get your car fixed.
Okay.
Okay. Now, he doesn't use a socket wrench for everything, right?
Depends on the skill set, apparently.
Oh, pound sand. You're going to get killed. I'm going to hurt you so much. That's not what I'm saying. Why I put that caveat in there, because I knew exactly where you were going to go with this. But you got to have the right tool for the right job. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Having the right tool for the right job. We could go into video game explanations, but only you would be the only one that understands it. Okay. But so when you have a color line at your disposal, or you find a color line where you can actually turn that color line into the different tool set that you need, you're winning across the board. Which segues right into our next subject, which is the reason why this color line is a reason why we're friends, and that's All-Nutrient certified organic hair color. When you put that in my hand over 20 years ago, and I threw it up on a shelf and forgot about it and threw you out of my color room. Do we get into that story, or do we wait for that story?
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day. But and then when I did use it, I blew my mind, and now it is both our hair colors of choice, which is once again All-Nutrients certified organic hair color line. You can't lose with this color. It hits every check mark, every box on the list. From you can do simple formulation with it, all the way up to You can be as artistic with it as you want. And because the varying degrees of developer, you can take that cream hair color line, turn it from an ammoniated high lift color, with their high lift series, all the way down to you can use their CPL developer to create a demi, and the pigments and the pigmentation system. God, I struggle with that. I've been hanging around with you too long, man. English is becoming hard. The micropigmentation system really, I mean, with the dye loads that are in this color are just unbelievable. And the way your client's hair feels after, touch up after touch up, where they're like, God, my hair never felt like this, So, do you care to expand on that, my friend?
No. You're on a roll. You're on a roll. You're on an absolute roll. I like the whole thing comes down to a lot of people are looking for certified organic based ingredients and products. And a lot of it comes down to understanding the technology, because the ingredients do matter. It does make a difference. So then you got to ask yourself a couple of questions. What exactly can the science do for you? What exactly can these ingredients and can these kind of products do for you? Is it just a matter of your healthiness overall? Is that what you're most concerned about? Well, that's an easy answer. It's certified organic based. That certification is a huge difference. It matters. Do you want your color to last longer? Well, everybody says, yeah, sure, hypothetically speaking, but is that really a concern? Because color lasting longer means what? 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks. But if your hair grows a half an inch a month, every month on average, well, then in 4 or 5 weeks, you're going to see, roots coming in, new growth coming in, depending on if you're a stylist or a client watching this, right? Everybody's going to call it something different. So if you're going to see that outgrowth, and if that outgrowth is going to bother you, you're going to come in every 4 to 6 weeks anyways. That's the average appointment that a client will come into the salon. So color lasting for 8 weeks sounds great. Doesn't really matter. What does matter is over the course of those weeks, as that color starts to wash out and lose its initial vibrancy and intensity, how is that color still going to look? Is it still going to look like it's on tone? Is it still going to look like the color it was to begin with? Or is it going to look like something else? Is it going to start turning into something else? Okay. Now, I am avoiding the word fade. Some of you may be thinking, oh, he's talking about color fadage. No, I'm not. Color fadage is something completely different. Hair color does not fade. It loses its initial vibrancy and intensity, but permanent color does not fade. Let that sink in for a second. Now everybody's going to start arguing. What is your argument on it?
You got to go back to, what is your definition of fading? Everybody has a different definition of fading. See, because
there's only one definition. Yours is wrong.
I don't use the term fade because there's, fading is what your jeans do when you wash them too much. And then you end up looking like you're back in the 1980s with your faded jeans. Okay.
So everybody should start washing their hair with ice cubes then? They shouldn't use shampoo and conditioner anymore?
Absolutely, 100%.
That's how you wash your jeans, right? With the ice cubes?
Sea breeze, and just ice cold water. That's it. That's it. That's
all. Here we go. No, but here's the thing, right? So when you do your shampoo, when you do wash it, when you condition it, when you style it, when you do all these things, you're beating up the surface of that color, because color lives on the top of your hair shaft and it lives inside of your hair shaft. It lives in two different places. Everybody focuses way too much on the outside because that's visually what everybody can see. And when you lose that initial color from the top of your hair, that's what everybody perceives. That, oh, my color washed out, my color faded out, my color went away. So I didn't have a good enough color. Then everybody starts arguing, oh, this color is better than this color. This color is better than that color. It's something interesting about All-Nutrient is people don't argue about is it better or is it worse. Just people just talk about just how great it is all the time, each and every time. It's really simple. Half the ammonia, double the dye load. That's it. That's the simplicity. That's how I explain it to every single one of my clients. It's got half the ammonia. It's certified organic base. It's healthier for you overall. So that covers that concern. Oh, but you said ammonia. You said the word ammonia. I heard ammonia is bad. Yeah, no, that's misinformation. You know, fake news, fake news. It's you need ammonia. Ammonia is natural. If you want ammonia free, then you're substituting a natural ingredient with a chemical ingredient. The real argument.
And what is the ammonia replacement? I love
that, and that's where, yeah, the real argument is a synthetic made thing. It's a chemical made thing. And that chemical, depending on which one it is, generally speaking, majority of the time, 9 times out of 10, is far, far worse than ammonia itself. Now, with that said, depending on how you use ammonia, if you use it correctly, it's actually very safe and it's only active for the first 18 minutes. If you misuse it, it'll bite you. I use the analogy for ammonia as a little kid. When they're happy, you know, and they're cute and they're smiling, oh, they're so adorable, right? You just want to pinch their cheeks. But when you tell them it's time for a nap or it's time to eat, you got to stop playing, they get really angry really quick, right? Or it's like, oh, hey, it's time for a diaper change. Come here. And it's like, no. That kid wants to run around with all poo-poo all over the place. And he's happy as can be. Pig and crap. So that's when ammonia bites you in the butt. And it's not so cute no more. Now, with All-Nutrient, if you got half the ammonia, then it's really controllable. It's not an issue. And if you got double the dye load, then you really got a lot of pigmentation in there, then it's not an issue. Right. If you got that much dye load in there, then every single shade of color can cover gray by itself. That means anything else you do creatively, you're going to guarantee you got coverage. So now that opens up your entire options to everything you're trying to do. It's so much more fun then. It's so much more user-friendly. It's so much easier to work with. Then that means it's so much easier for a client to be able to go home and maintain that hair color over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks or longer. Then that means if you're a blonde and you've got lowlights for contrast, those lowlights look good for the first week or two, generally speaking, and then all of a sudden they wash out. Not anymore. You actually have contrast. It looks great. Oh, you want glazes? You want toners? You want to do these wine color trends that are coming out? Fantastic, because keratin has got zero ammonia in it. There's no ammonia whatsoever.
Keratin is one of my favorite tools. It's a liquid-based color. The spreadability alone is like amazing. Is amazing, and the colors match perfectly. The keratin colors match the cream hair color. The tones all match up. Everything is perfect. So if you're concerned about those ends, you can run keratin through the ends to balance your color for color balancing. And it's seamless. It's amazing what they've done with keratin. Keratin you can also do gray blending with. Keratin you can, I mean, low lights are fantastic, and the shine that you get with keratin is the same shine you would get if you did a global application on a virgin client with the All-Nutrient cream hair color. It is my favorite. I use a ton of keratin. I know you see my orders. And there are 2 developers that go with keratin to begin with, which is the Demi developer and then the Demi Plus, which Demi Plus will take it and give you gray coverage. And then because it is liquid hair color, you could also use 20 and 40. Wait,
20 and 40,
40. Yeah, 40. I'm looking at all my developers on the shelf. I was like, wait, yeah, 40. So you can actually use it as true hair color too, instead of just a demi or a semi or that's a subject for another day. But
Well, we cover that in class,
yeah,
the creative applications and uses for it because of the technology. We cover that in class a lot. What it comes down to is simply this. It is the choice of top colorists because certified organic base, it's healthy, it's safe. It is easy to use because it uses the same swatch as its permanent color counterpart. You don't have to learn a whole new set of shades of colors. Okay. So it simplifies it that way. And because you don't have to use the same, because you don't have to learn a new swatch ring, it's using the same swatches. You're already used to using those colors as it is. Your mind expectation, your creative eye, and your expectation is already built. You know what that color is going to come out looking like. Now, because you don't have no ammonia, it's a deposit only. You're getting maximum fill,
yeah,
which is fantastic,
yeah,
absolutely fantastic. So then
and
it's safe to pull through each and every time to refresh the ends if you wanted to. It's safe to do those glazes. You can leave it on longer too, because every minute a toner is left on is one more longer shampoo it's going to last at home. So then that's going to help it last longer at home. And the client is not going to feel that fadage word that they use, that they use to describe, losing intensity of color.
right. And another benefit of both colors is there are no petroleum byproducts in this color.
That's a
None.
certified organic base. This is a non-petrol base.
So in this discussion, what does Eddie? What, and you give the best explanation about this. What is the explanation? What is certified organic?
It pushes the ingredients that much further in a product. Okay. There are guidelines, there are recommendations, and there are minimum requirements for a product, to have certain X amount to be categorized as a healthy or as an organic. So I'll give a loose example. It's if you have 100 ingredients in a product, then you only need to have a minimum of 9 to 11 ingredients of those 100 to be categorized as a healthy or as an organic product. Well, then if you've got 100 ingredients in there and if only 10 of them are healthy or are organic, and you could technically advertise your product as such, 90% of that product is still chemical based. How really healthy is that? And this is a big discovery and an issue that has been coming to light over the past few years. People going to the store and paying extra dollars because it's labeled healthy or organic, and then are starting to realize it's not that much better than the regular counterpart or the unhealthy counterpart. And it's really hitting a heartstring with people. People are starting to get really upset because they feel ripped off. Rightfully so, too. I wouldn't feel good about paying extra money thinking I'm getting a superior product, and then in the end, I'm really not getting much of anything. All they've done is swap one thing for something else.
Right.
That's not nice.
Right.
So certifications is important because now you are guaranteeing there's a paper trail that says, I got these ingredients from over here. I brought them in and I've recycled them and I've reused them, or not recycled them, excuse me, processed them into my product over here like this under these guidelines to maintain this level of potency, of healthiness, of organic. Okay. There's that paper trail. And then there's a list that says, look, these are known ingredients that could be carcinogenic or could be create an adverse reaction, sensitivities, allergies and such. So then you can't have any of that in there. Then you got to have that paper trail to guarantee that there was none of those ingredients in that product. That is the reference of being a certified organic based. Okay. And now you're flipping the script. If you're using that same 100 ingredient example, now 90 to 95 or 95 to 99 of those 100 ingredients are organic based. Now you only have 1 to 10 of those ingredients are chemical based. Okay. I'm not going to tell you a story. Hair color is a chemical service through and through.
No.
Right? I'm not going to try to say some BS. Hair color is a chemical service. The only way to have a true organic hair color, that hair color would have to be refrigerated. It would only last as much as eggs, which is like a week or two. And then you'd have to toss it. Okay. So having a certified organic base, especially with All-Nutrient, you're at 95% organic based. You got 5% chemicals in it. And those 5%, I love showing the back of the box to somebody because it starts off saying certified organic extracts of, and the list is this long. And then at the bottom, it's this small and it says may contain. And a client pointed it out to me one time. She goes, why does it say may contain these chemicals? Why doesn't it say it does contain these chemicals? I says, look, everybody's body's chemistry is different. These may get activated with your body's chemistry. They may not. So, that's why it says it may contain.
Right.
Because it may get activated. So it may be specific to you or it may mean nothing to you altogether. She's like, wow, that's super interesting. I go, it's absolutely fascinating. I go, it's amazing to be able to have a brand who spends so much time on research and development and really care about continually pushing through vegan-based, certified organic-based,
no animal testing.
No animal testing, non-petrol, none of the GMOs, none of the synthetics. They don't focus on all this stuff. I wish I had my swatch book with me right now because it really, the way they write out their literature is so beautifully written.
It's awesome.
It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
Well,
so when you have that nice of an ingredient-based product to begin with, a color line that's awesome to begin with, and when you have a demi-color, keratin, they're demi-glaze, and you can just knock out toners and pull-throughs and refreshers so quickly and so easily, man, it's a no-brainer at that point.
Well, one of my favorite things about All-Nutrient really truly is that you can be a colorist extraordinaire. I mean, you can know the color wheel and create all these wonderful things, or you can actually be someone who maybe doesn't do a lot of color, and you can cover that whole spectrum with this color line because of the ability for 100% gray coverage with each and every tone, which each and every SKU in the line. And you don't have to lose your mind with, I got to use this percentage of N, and there isn't that brown backdrop to all the colors. Am I wrong? And my favorite thing truly is when I pull the book out, because I still use the book. All right. Yeah. I've been doing this forever. Yeah. I still use the book because sometimes I forget what the base is, what the base colors are in the color, because I'm old and my brain kind of, I have two squirrels in my head. They touch every now and then. I get an idea. But it gives you that what the base color of each of those colors are. And the cool part is brown is not the first ingredient. Where a lot of other color lines, brown, and then they add, the tones. And the book itself is awesome because even I brain cramp every now and then where I'm like, wait, what's the complementary color to this? And the book's right there. It's just I can't, it's my main color line in my shop. So. And that's all because you put it in my hand and then wanted to punch me in the face. So
get that as a quote.
So and really to close out All-Nutrient, you can go to htbbeauty.com, check it out. There's links in there. There are classes where we really get deep into really how to use this, turn this into one of the biggest tools in your toolbox, and really turn it into something that gives your clients ultimate satisfaction as far as their hair texture, their color, and really, really can generate more dollars for you because it's $6.95 for $6.95 still.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The cost of per tube. No? Okay, it's not. I'm wrong.
Yeah, you really are like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay, whatever. Whatever. It's still less. A 3-ounce tube is still less than what you pay for a 2-ounce tube in other lines. Am I wrong?
You are wrong. It's 3.5 ounces. I don't even know where you're at. You need a class. You need a class.
Well, I'm going to HTB Beauty to get a class. I need a class. I'm sorry, 3.5 ounce tube. I was rolling. What do you want from me, man? On a Friday morning, you're killing me.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Is that your motivational quote? You're killing me, Smalls.
No, Smalls. I've got your motivational quote. Do you want to get to that?
Let's do it. What's your quote?
You know what? You asked nicely. You got to start being nice to me. Say something nice now.
I got nothing. You get nothing out of me, Steve. Nothing, yeah.
Wow.
That's true friendship. That's true love. That's true friendship right there. Yeah. When in that moment of need, just so you just hear one nice positive thing, it would make you feel all the better. And then that family member comes in and just puts you down. When you're down for the count and your family, you can count on family to just bury you.
You know, and I'm giving you all wrong information and you're just letting me go. That's friendship. That's friendship. Because I wanted to see exactly where you were going to go with that. And I see how it is now. All right. All right. Caffeine and hatred for you. I understand.
Got it.
So anyway, here's your motivational quote for the day, my friend. Because holy cow, we blasted through today real quick. And here it is. Change your thoughts and you will change your world. And I'll repeat that again for you. Change your thoughts and you will change your world.
Interesting.
Yeah. And what that speaks to me is because we all live in our heads a lot, and where your mind goes, everything else follows. And if you really change the way you think about things, you will change the way the outcome of things is. So, God, I sound like Kamala Harris there for a minute. The problem is the problem. But
so it's like a manifesting destiny?
Almost. But really what you do is the way you think about something, if you change the way you think about it, you know, it changes the end result of life and everything else you do in life. Really, if you embrace everything in your life and look for the good in everything instead of being negative about everything, because human nature, it's easier to be negative than it is positive. I mean, we've all gone into the back room with a bunch of people, huddled around the table like a little cult coven, this sucks. But if you really think about it and you look at the positive and change the way you think about things, things fall in place for you big time. Things fall in place for you. And that's your motivational quote for the day is
that's awesome.
Change your thoughts and you will change your life.
I like it. I like it. How you guys like these quotes? I really love them. Let us know in the comment section. Check out our description for these videos. We got links in there going to our classes, going to our support, going to our website. And then this way you guys can follow us and make sure that you guys are being kept up to date with all the latest and greatest tips and tricks and information that we got for y'all. We really appreciate y'all watching. Thank you so much. We will catch you next week.
Check, mash your the like button, subscribe. Okay. Thanks, Eddie. Dick. Yeah, I didn't even get to do my closing. I had a new closing saying and everything.
We're still live.
Are we? You're
Yeah.
killing me. You're not getting it now. You got to wait till next week, guys.